So hello friends, welcome to my new video. So today in this video I'm going to discuss with you all about hypermetropia. Okay, so let's start. So as you can see in this picture that light rays are getting focused on the retina, so it's termed as normal eye, but here the light rays are not focusing on the retina. Okay, so it's what are the causative factor that leads to defocusing of the light rays, and how hypermetropia leads to where the light rays get focused behind the retina, that we are going to discuss. Okay, so from this video you will learn that what is hypermetropia, what are the causes of hypermetropia, and what is the optics of hypermetropia, what is the signs symptoms of hypermetropia, and how we can manage it. Okay, so let's start. So hypermetropia is that type of refractive error where the parallel rays of light ray which are coming from infinity are getting focused behind the retina. So as an optometrist, when a patient come to our clinic and after performing the retinoscopy, if we find that the patient is having hypermetropia, then normally we prescribe the patient spectacles where plus power is added, and if the patient does not want spectacle, then we can go for contact lenses. There is no issue with that. So the patient, those will come to you, will complain more about near than in the distance, but there is many patient who also complain more that they feel difficulty to see at distance, and you find the patient is having hypermetropia, but mostly the patient feel difficulty in near. Okay, so that also I will tell you that why the patients are not having that much difficulty for distance. Now, another thing that I want to tell you is that don't relate hypermetropia with presbyopia, because I'm telling you that because both require plus power. Okay, in hypermetropia we give plus power, and in presbyopia also we give plus power. But the main difference is that hypermetropia is not related with a specific age. It can be present in any age, like it can be present in a baby, or it can be present in a teenager, or it can be present in a adult who is less than 40 years. But presbyopia will appear after 40 years. So we can call like hypermetropia is a refractive error, and presbyopia is a physiological problem where the lens loses the elasticity, so that the accommodation ability is decreased, so the person needs some addition power to see the near object. Okay, now here you can see that light rays which are coming from infinity, so this is why they are parallel to each other getting focused behind the retina. Okay, so this is the overall cross section of the eye, where this is the cornea, this is the lens, iris, ciliary body, and this is the choroid. The red part is choroid, green is the retina, and the outermost is the sclera. Okay, so here is the vitreous humor, here aqueous humor is there. Okay, so when child at birth, child is having hypermetropia of 3 to 5 diopter. In many books you will find that child having hypermetropia 2.5 to 3 diopter, so it varies. Okay, so in some patient childs also it is seen that 6 diopter hypermetropia can also be seen. Okay, so, what are the causes or etiology of hypermetropia? As I showed in this slide, that child at the initial stage after birth, they are having hypermetropia of 3 to 5 diopter. So why? Because in children who are born and after birth, their eyeball size remain very small. Okay, so like the normal axial length of the eye is 24.4 millimeter, while after the birth the child eyeball size is about 17 millimeter. So look at the difference, that how small the eyeball of the child is. So this is why the light rays are getting focused behind the retina, and it is producing hypermetropia. So as the child grows, then eyeball also size is growing, so that it after reaching the normal limit, that is 24 millimeter, so the child will become emmetropic. And if there is some underdevelopment of the eye is there, and the child axial length become 23, and the growth is stopped, then it will produce some hypermetropia. Okay, so due to presence of any ocular pathology, means that suppose the in the posterior segment there is a presence of any ocular neoplasm, or suppose there is a retinal detachment is there, or central serous chorioretinopathy. So all these pathologies lead to forward movement of the retina. Okay, so this forward movement of the retina leads to focusing of the light rays behind the retina, so it is producing hypermetropia. And curvature, if the flat curvature of the cornea, if it is flatter than the normal, that I will discuss. Okay, so let's discuss about over the is optical. So optical hypermetropia can be due to axial, that is axial hypermetropia, or it can be due to flattening of the corneal curvature, that we can call is curvature hypermetropia. And if there is any reduction of index of the refractive medium, that it is called as index hypermetropia. Okay, so what is axial hypermetropia? So here the axial length of the eye is lesser than the normal. So suppose the normal not suppose the normal axial length of the eye is 24.4 millimeter. Now suppose the person axial length is 23 millimeter, so it is producing some amount of hypermetropia because the eye is not at proper limit. Okay, so remember one thing, that each millimeter reduction of axial length lead to 3 diopter of hypermetropia. Okay, and let's move to the curvature hypermetropia. Here suppose the corneal curvature is flatter than the normal. Okay, so the normal corneal curvature is 7.7 millimeter. Now if the corneal curvature is flatter than the normal, so it will lead to less converging of the light rays, so it will lead to focusing of the light rays behind the retina. So remember this thing, that every 1 millimeter flattening of the corneal curvature will lead to 6 diopter of hypermetropia. Okay, and if we tell about the refractive index hypermetropia, then if the refractive index of the refracting medium due to any reason it is reduced, then it also lead to lesser convergence of the light rays, so it will lead to focusing of the light rays behind the retina. Okay, so let's move to types of hypermetropia. Here hypermetropia is mainly two types. One is latent hypermetropia and another is manifest hypermetropia. Okay, so what is latent hypermetropia? So I will tell you with an example. Okay, so suppose the person is having hypermetropia of +1 or +1.5 diopter for distance. Okay, so he will have blurring vision for distance. So what our eye will try to do is that our eye try to correct this amount of hypermetropia, that is +1 to +1.5, with the tone of ciliary muscle. It's a very natural process that eye is automatically try to correct this amount of refractive error, and with the tone of ciliary muscle I correct that amount of hypermetropia. But now when the person is doing a near work or close work, then he need more accommodation power because he is already doing accommodation for distance. Now he need more accommodation for near, so in some patient it is not available, so that this is why they are feeling difficulty to see the near object. Okay, so this is latent hypermetropia. So how you can rule out this latent hypermetropia is that by using the cycloplegic drugs like atropine, cyclopentolate or homatropine, depending on what is the age of the patient, and after using those cycloplegic drugs it will paralyze the ciliary muscle, so that the person eye cannot active his accommodation ability to correct the amount of hypermetropia. So the left hypermetropia is cannot be corrected. Now let's move to the manifest hypermetropia. Is the left hypermetropia after application of the cycloplegic drugs. Now manifest is again two types, facultative and absolute. Okay, so what is facultative? So even after using the cycloplegic drugs to the patient to paralyze the ciliary muscle, some amount of hypermetropia can still be corrected with the effort of accommodation by pressurizing the accommodation. Okay, the amount of hypermetropia that can be corrected with the effort of accommodation by the patient, that is called as facultative hypermetropia. Okay, and the amount of hypermetropia that cannot be corrected with the effort of accommodation is called as absolute hypermetropia. Okay, now so we can say that total hypermetropia is equal to latent hypermetropia plus manifest hypermetropia. So here manifest hypermetropia is again two types, facultative hypermetropia and absolute hypermetropia. Okay, so when the patient come to your clinic with a complaint that he have blurring of vision for distance and near, whatever the complaint is, so he will have distant blurring of vision like this, and he will have eye strain, headache, and difficulty to see the near object clearly, as I already said why. So these are the symptoms, that blurring of vision for near, headache, eye strain, difficulty to do long duration of one, and convergent squint due to overworking of accommodation. Why? Because as in my example I told you that the person is in having hypermetropia +1 to +1.5 diopter. Okay, for this the person is inducing his accommodation to see or to overcome that refractive error. So when the person is doing a near work like reading a newspaper or reading a book at 30 centimeter distance, then he a normal person needs plus 3 diopter of accommodation to read a near object clearly, or to see a near object clearly. Okay, but as the patient is already inducing some amount of accommodation, that is, it can be +1 or it can be +2 depending on the amount of hypermetropy that can be corrected with the effort of accommodation. So when he is doing a near work like reading a newspaper, then he is inducing +3 amount of accommodation, but he is already inducing +2 or +1 amount of accommodation for distance. So this distance accommodation will add up with the near accommodation, so it will in total it will be like 4 diopter or 5 diopter of accommodation, where he just only needs 3 diopter of accommodation. And we also know that there is an interrelation between accommodation and convergence with the help of AC by A ratio. Okay, so remember this thing, that each diopter of accommodation leads to 4 to 5 prism diopter of convergence. Okay, so normally when a person do a near work like reading a newspaper or reading a book, then with the accommodation there is 12 prism diopter of convergence is there. So it is with 3 diopter of accommodation he is having 12 prism diopter of convergence. Now as the person is inducing 4 diopter of accommodation or 5 diopter of accommodation, then it is leading to 18 or 20 prism diopter of convergence, where he just only need 12 prism diopter of convergence. So this is how an excess convergence is there, where due to excess accommodation. Okay, so and this excess convergence leading to convergence going due to overworking of accommodation. Okay, and the sign, if I say, then there is a smaller axial length. If you measure the axial length of the hypermetropic eye, then you will find that there is smaller axial length, because axial hypermetropia is more common than the curvature hypermetropia and shallow AC. So this is why hypermetropic patients are more prone to have a primary angle closure glaucoma. Now, in the beginning of the presentation, I told you that after performing the retinoscopy, if we find the patient is having hypermetropia, so how the hypermetropic reflex will look like. So when you perform the retinoscope to the patient, if there after putting the working distance, if the patient is eye is having with movement with the retinoscopy stick reflex, then it is telling that the patient is having hypermetropia. So you will put plus power and then try to neutralize it. Okay, and after that subjective refraction should be done to make the acceptance of the patient. Okay, so after 60 years of age, all the type of hypermetropia become absolute hypermetropia. Why? Because after 60 years, the patient who is having hypermetropia, or the persons normally there is no effort of accommodation is there. So this is why when as an optometrist, when patient come to us who are more than 60 years of age, in after taking the near visual acuity, we just put a +3 addition. So and after that the person become very happy, and he can read N6 or 6.6 depending on what type of near chart you are using. So why? Because after 60 years of age, the person loses all the effort of accommodation. Okay, so this is why we are putting +3, where a normal person needs +3 diopter of accommodation to see a near object, but after 60 years that person loses all the accommodation ability. So this is why we are putting +3. So that means that the person loses his accommodative ability. There is no latent hypermetropia, there is no facultative hypermetropia. Only remaining hypermetropia is absolute hypermetropia. Okay. So what is the management? Primary management is give glasses to the patient where plus power is prescribed, and if the patient doesn't want glasses, then give contact lenses, and conductive keratoplasty can also be done, where thermal where temperature of the thermal burning like is there in the up to 50 micron depth of the cornea, so that when this area is healing, so it will reduce the corneal curvature. Okay, so this is the how the light rays can be on focus from behind the retina. Okay, so that's all friends, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel. Please don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will get notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much.